Okay, so this is Farming 101. You don't have to get your fingers dirty. And no spades, no hose. So, as a new agent, I used two methods to really build my business. One was doing open houses, and I think you've all been to my open house class, and the other one was farming. Open houses had a more immediate impact on my overall business. However, farming had the more lasting impact on my business, and something that I can kind of count on as almost bread and butter, because it just, once it gets going, it keeps coming. But it is a commitment, and it's a commitment of at least a year, if not more, to really get there. But you probably heard I'm the queen of Flowers Mill, and but I work it, and I've been working it for years, and I did 60% of the business in that neighborhood last year. So success builds upon success. So if you have a success with someone you met at an open house, they're going to maybe, hopefully, tell their friends and family. But if you have a success in a neighborhood, the whole neighborhood is going to know about it. So it's a little bit more far-reaching, and it's building a deeper business. Okay, so I've always farmed, and you'll hear the expression that having listings in real estate is the lifeblood of the business, because if you have a listing and it's priced sort of right, if not right, it's going to sell. You're going to get a paycheck from that. If you have a buyer, how many times do you have a buyer they never buy, or they're not ready yet, or they run year round and then they buy it for sale by owner? Hopefully you have their loyalty, you have them signed up, but listings, you will find that all the most successful real estate agents are listing side with their attention. Okay, so let's talk about how to choose where to farm. So there can be geographic farms. That's what people usually think of, in other words, a neighborhood. But what other farms can you think of? Other groups of people that you can...
55 plus community, something like that.
You can, yes. How about in your personal life, in your spheres?
Now I have a question. When you pick where to farm, being a new agent, would you do something that you're more comfortable with, like just say like your hometown? Like what?
Yes, I would, and we'll talk more about that. But what groups are you in? What organizations are you part of? Anybody?
The Firehouse.
Okay, the Firehouse, and Tracy has gotten a lot of business
from the Firehouse.
From the the guys at the Firehouse.
I was just going to say career staples. That's
okay, so previous careers, previous contacts, you can group that together. Any other organizations?
I have my gym.
Your gym, right? Yeah, if you're there and you're visible and you want to wear your Keller Williams t-shirt whenever you go,
That's what I bring it.
Yeah.
It comes off halfway through, but.
Well, but it's another good sphere. How about your church or synagogue? John McClintock, I think you know who he is.
That's how she,
he's in my church.
He's in your church. So John McClintock, he is our operating principal. I've known John a very long time, and he farms, but he was always hesitant to farm his church and the people that he knew there. And I asked him about it, and he said, well, church is church. I don't want to benefit financially from my relationships with people there. So I said to him, well, who would you rather they list with?
Right.
I got him thinking.
Who's going to take better care of them than you? Who's going to care more about them than you? Who's going to have their interest at heart more than you? And he thought about it, and then took out a little ad in the newsletter. And, you don't have to be splashy about it, but you can at least let them know, that I'm in real estate, and if you need somebody you can trust, we go to the same church, I have some kind of ethical and moral values, if that's where you are, you want to be with somebody like that, don't forget me. So, a lot of people are hesitant to take what they call advantage of groups that they've known, because especially in a social setting, you know, you don't want to take advantage of your friends. I mean, that's all we have, you know. So yes. So your neighborhood, your church. How about the schools? Who here has children in school? Okay, so, you know, I always did the book sale at school. I always did May Day. I always volunteered and did things in school. And I would come from work and I'd have my name badge on, you know. So, you know, that's a whole nother sphere. And, you know, your question was to target the people who were very like you, because then you'll easily relate to them and they'll easily relate to you. So if you have kids in school, you might farm a family neighborhood, okay? If you are 55 or over, like me, you might farm a 55 plus neighborhood. If you're just starting out and you live in a townhouse, do townhouses. You relate to the people in townhouses. You know, if you live in a $600,000 house, go to it, because you have relatability, okay, with people. You're on the same kind of, you know, ladder rung as they are. So, so when I pick neighborhoods, and I used to move, so I would get into a neighborhood I'd want to farm. You know, I lived in Cider Knoll, and I made a very deliberate decision to move into Laurel Oaks because it was a higher price range. And I didn't know how I was going to afford Laurel Oaks because it was a big jump for me from Cider Knoll. And, but I had confidence in myself, and I knew I had a plan. And that plan was going to be, now I'm not only going to farm Cider Knoll, but now I'm going to farm Laurel Oaks, okay? And when I moved into Flowers Mill, that was part of the plan, you know. So, and, you know, some may think that, you know, and sometimes I think my neighbors may think, oh, you know, she's only friendly with me because she was my business, you know, like, I have to get past that, you know, and I did feel that way. I didn't want people to think I was only, you know, relating to them because I had an ulterior motive. But if you come from contribution, because everybody talks about real estate, you know, and if they're in your neighborhood, in your own neighborhood, you know, you should be expert in your own neighborhood. If you go to a block party or, you know, Christmas party or a cookout in the summer, people are going to say, what's my house worth? What are things doing in the neighborhood? How's the real estate market? It just everybody talks about real estate. So, so I think your own area or your own niche, okay, that you can relate to the most is really an excellent place to start. Do you all live in neighborhoods?
Mm-hmm.
Apartment complex.
Okay. Well, so an apartment complex could be people who want to get out of there and move, you know, because sometimes they don't know that it doesn't cost any more on a monthly basis to buy than it does to rent. The challenge is getting the down payment, and there's lots of ways that we can put them on a savings plan or work on that and be the expert about getting you into the mainstream of people who have home ownership, the American dream. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, let me see, I'm looking at my notes. PTA, clubs, church, professions. Okay. If your significant other is a professional, you know, and they have their sphere, you can tag along into that, you know, and let them help you, introduce you to whatever their sphere is, okay? If your family member has a sphere, let them help you, introduce you to that sphere.
My brother's a barber, so when I first signed on, we have brochures. So I took a stack of brochures, took my business cards, and every one of his clients, he gives them to. Mm-hmm. And the other barbers being in the barbershop know me on a personal level because I'm his sister. They all took my cards. So now, sometime this week, I'm going to take more cards and more brochures. Like, I haven't gotten any business from it yet, but it doesn't hurt to just, it's a business card. That's all my brother is doing. It's like, oh, my little sister's in real estate now. Like, give her a call. She'll definitely, like, and which is great. Mm-hmm. And I never even, and my brother Jeff now needs some, he's in the military. handing them out to his, like, it doesn't hurt.
And it doesn't hurt also to drop in on his barber shop now and then.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
And put a face,
Yeah,
to the
no.
business card,
And that's
you
when
know.
he's talking to everybody, and like the
Mhm.
other barbers like I talk to, it's just I'm building relationships with people that I would not see day to day. And my
Mhm.
brother sees so many people,
Right.
and not even me realizing I utilize them.
Carol Swain is a boater, and she has a boat down on the Delaware and the Chamonix. I don't know what the name of the boat club is, but she's been there for years, and she works those people. They all know that she's the real estate boat lady, so that's where she likes to be. If you like to, if you like to play basketball with the boys, make sure that they're out looking for business.
It's funny you
For
mentioned
you.
Carol, that's why I'm here today, because I have a boat.
There you go.
Funny.
Mhm.
Boats away from Carol.
Yeah.
We're good friends. So.
Yeah, so, you know a lot of the same people, and you may have different relationships with a lot of the same people, so, she can help you, and,
Yep,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great, okay. So, let's pick a farm, okay, where do you want to farm?
Neighborhood.
Your neighborhood?
So,
Or your neighborhood or a
so
move
there's an
it?
adjacent neighborhood
Okay,
that's actually right behind the church. And the homes seem to be going on the market and coming off fairly quickly. I haven't done the trend factual
Mhm.
data check, but I feel confident that it is. And what I had intended to do, maybe you could help me with an idea, I had intended to host a yard sale. That
Mhm.
was gonna be my in. So I spoke with the man I know who lives in there, who also goes to church, Jimmy Compton, and said, do you ever have a neighborhood yard sale? And he sends me back a picture of a flyer that had just come out this past weekend from White Owl. I'm like, I was
Okay.
a day late, hour short.
That's all right, there's
So,
other things.
yeah,
but-
so that's my
What's the
plan.
name of the neighborhood?
Hampton Hills.
Okay,
In
all right,
Europe.
how about you?
I've sent stuff to my neighborhood, but I don't,
How often?
probably 3 times a year.
Okay, so you're
This
not
is the
farming,
thing.
so where do you want to farm?
Well, I'd like to farm my neighborhood, but my
Okay.
question is, there's already agents farming it,
So do it even
and there's
harder.
other agents living in it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I have an
So,
agent who lives across the street from me, and I don't care.
like, I wonder if it's gonna be
Well,
not a
it-
waste
it-
of money,
effective
but,
use of
yeah,
time.
effective, yeah.
if there's a lot of turnover, there's room for everybody,
Mhm.
okay, and I wouldn't let it stop you, okay, because who can speak better, and even if there's where do you live?
Vermilion Hills.
Vermilion Hills, okay, but if you wanna go to a different neighborhood and you do your research and you see that nobody has a dominant share, does anyone have a dominant share in that neighborhood?
Denny Felice kinda did for a long time.
Uh-huh, I
but
thought
I'm
you were gonna
noticing-
say
I'm-
Helen or,
No,
yeah,
but I'm noticing that it's not as prominent as it was,
okay,
for
okay.
sure.
And, like, I've moved out of some of my farms and other people have moved in, so just
Right.
because, you think that Matt Bain owns Newtown Grand, I don't know that he does so much there anymore,
Right,
or, I mean,
right.
there's lots of names that pop up, so how about you, what area do you want to farm?
I live in Philadelphia, in the Candy Garden section.
Okay,
I would like to farm, I've been born and raised in that area, and I'm back in that area in my mother's house, it was just rehabbed. And there's a lot of older people, some of the people, like I know in MLS, and some of these people have been there 60, 70 years, and they're ready, things are gonna happen. I see things going to estate sales, I see homes original, people moving in and fixing them up, so I think there's opportunity.
okay, all right, great, how about you, Randy?
I would like to do my neighborhood
Which is
with Crabtree
Crabtree, okay,
area, 'cause I was in the PTO for years.
great,
I know so many
Familiar
people.
face, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Arena?
I was thinking maybe I was trying to farm my neighborhood,
Which is,
Langhorne Gables.
okay,
So because I saw a lot of for sale signs, but it's different. Remarks, Wakers, Berkshire Hathaway, so everything.
so nobody's dominant there,
No, nobody's done it.
okay,
No, but most when I ask people, because I knew this house should be for sale, when I ask owner if they need help, most of them has someone in their family who is realtor. So
okay,
that's why it's so different
okay.
signs there. So and I don't know if it's again.
Yeah, a lot of people will put you off that way, it doesn't mean they like that person, it doesn't mean they trust them with all their personal information. It may be just a way to kinda, so if you stay at them and show them that you're the professional there, you can still win over some of those people.
Or I think
Right.
maybe start to try a little bit Northeast Philly, where is Russian people live in.
That'll be
Maybe
good for you,
Scouts
especially since
Yeah.
it's probably harder for them to talk to.
And it's a lot of people who live there, so,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like 20 minutes away from my house. So.
Village
That's
Shires
Somerton
is in Holland, there's a lot of Russian people there.
Yeah.
Somerton.
Or, I mean, do you go to a Russian church?
No, I'm
No.
not.
Are you in any Russian organizations?
Actually, today I spoke with one person. She just organized like meetup group
Hmm?
with Russian professional. So
Ah,
I just
perfect.
wanna be there.
Okay, so you definitely want to do that and you want to work it, okay?
Yeah.
All right, and you're doing
I would like to do Morrisville.
Morrisville,
Mhm.
okay, all of Morrisville?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Because
great.
Morrisville's not that big.
Okay, so let's talk about how many people you should be farming to make it effective. Because there's only maybe a 1 or 2% return, possibly, in the beginning, when you do mailings and whatnot. So, I say the ideal number is 1,000 people. Now, that might be something you strive for, but I think at the very minimum, you should do 500. And some of the neighborhoods that you mentioned don't have 500 people, homes.
Mine was like 620.
Okay, so, all
Yeah, and
right.
to mail a postcard, it was like $340, I think.
Okay, so, keep those numbers in mind and always think about increasing. When I would start, I started with a townhouse community, Oxford Crossing. And then I wanted to have another farm that was the next price range up so that they could move into that. So that was like Highland 8 Maple Point, And then there was another neighborhood that they would move up, maybe from there. So that can also be, have a long-term plan, a 5-year plan of where you want to grow and how you want to expand your farm, okay? Because once you see it working, you're going to want to expand it. I send out 1,300 calendars every year, and I've limited. I could send out 2,000, but I've decided to limit it. How often should they hear from you? Okay, more than 3 times a year. Okay.
So it should, because I heard in another class quarterly. Is
Okay,
that not right?
not enough.
Okay.
Once a month.
That's what I used to think, okay? And then I went to a seminar, I don't know who it was, maybe Brian Buffini or somebody, and they said, no, every 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, every 3 weeks they should hear from you. Because, well, I tried it, and I saw a difference. So that's what I say to do now, is every 3 weeks. You know that whatever you send them is gonna go right in the trash can, okay? I mean, you're contributing. And if you send them something of value, which I'm all into, they may stick it in a drawer somewhere, which is great,
Then what would you send it something of value?
Well, I'm gonna
Okay.
talk about that.
It's like, what's something, yeah.
I'm gonna talk about that. And we can talk about that now, okay, something of value. So what do you think people value most in this day and age of so much computer access? Information, absolutely. So, I provide them with information that might be pertinent to them. Now, I don't cook. So, recipe cards are not my thing, I mean, if you cook and you want to share your own recipes and that's something you like, you could do that. It's a little old school, but at least you're making a contact. Should every contact be a recipe card? No. Okay, you want to, change it up. But I like real estate information because I want them to know that I'm the expert in the neighborhood. So one of the easiest things to do, and I think most effective, are just listed and just sold cards. Doesn't have to be your listing or your sale. Okay, you're providing information. If somebody in the office listed something in your neighborhood that you've picked, you can ask them, do you mind if I send out the just listed card? Okay, you're just telling them that the house is listed. You're not necessarily saying you listed it. Or if you feel uncomfortable about it, this just came on the market in our neighborhood. And the quickest and easiest place to get just listed cards is postmail.com. And with postmail.com, you set up your picture and your contact information, and all you do is contact them with a address. Here they are, with an address and a price. You can pass this around. Address and a price, and they do the rest for you. And you can either send it to the 50 people around, okay, or you could send it to 100 people. But if you're in your farm, you need to create a database. Now, I'm a big top producer person. You'll always hear me talk about top producer. I've been doing top producer since 2006. You can use eEdge as long as you can generate labels, send emails en masse, and do all the things, you know, that you want to do in a farm. Repetitive stuff, okay? So if you have a database and you can export the names of the people in that neighborhood, then you use expresscopy.com.
Okay, I called with
Okay.
them today at 1, they're calling
Yeah,
me to talk.
so this is what I do with expresscopy.com, and here you go. I have Microsoft Publisher, and I created what you saw on the back side of those once, and then I just change it with each listing. And I put the address in, and I put in a little bit about the house, and if there's an open house coming up, I'll announce, please come to my open house. But listed cards and then sold cards are one of the things that people throw in the drawer and keep, okay, because they want it. I don't always put prices on some of these cards because it does generate interest, and they may call me to find out how much it is if their kid is interested or somebody at work might be interested or whatever. But it's a piece of information, okay? Another thing that I do, and you can pass these out and keep it, is do some homework, and you can do this quarterly. I do it yearly. You can do it every 6 months, and this is what I call my year in review. And you know, if you can't set this up on Publisher, you know, find a kid who can do it for you. You don't have to use my layout. You can use whatever layout you want. You can make a postcard out of it. You know, you need another one here. And it's very full of information, okay? And you can see, I go for, and I've been doing this, I have one here from 2007. So every year, you know, January 1st, you know, I'm on trend and I'm doing my research, and I'm filling all this in. And you know, if you only have 3 sales in the neighborhood in the year, you can spread it out, you can put more information under the features, you can add a picture, you can, you know, do whatever you want. But this particular neighborhood had a lot of activity.
I want to say some of these houses sold really quick.
Yeah, the days on market are really important. And then, you know, when you do it year from year, at the bottom you can just give the statistics of what happened this year. But I just move it from year to year so I can see that the prices have gone up or down, that the days on market have grown or lessened. And people really look forward to this. Sometimes I get calls and they say, when are you sending that out, you know? And this, as I said, you can do quarterly. You know, you can, since there's less units, you can put it on a postcard, design a postcard, give it to Express Copy, upload your database to them, and off it goes. Okay,
Can I ask
so
a question, Lee?
yeah.
This one, is it a tri-fold sticky dot label on it, or is it envelope, address?
This one I put in an envelope. Yeah, but you don't have to. You could hand deliver them. You don't have to spend money. Knocking on doors is probably the most effective way to see somebody face to face. And it's a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is a scary thing the first time.
And how often usually like the same door?
You could knock quarterly, you know, but if you knock, you ought to have something to give them. Okay? So I send these out, and you know I do a lot of 55 plus, and I get like 50 of them back because they're away for the winter. You know, and if it's bulk mail, they don't forward it. And they send it back to me. I pay a service. It costs me 47 cents for them to send it back. But now, and I was doing this yesterday. It was great. I was visiting the houses and said, you know, I tried to send this to you. And, you know, when it came back, so I see that you're home now. You know, where were you? You know, were you in Florida? Oh, yeah. We're in Florida, Delray. You know, the last 4 people just told me they were in Delray Beach, you know, and this was yesterday. And, you know, in my case, I said, well, are you ready to move there permanently? You know, and a lot of them said, no, we have grandchildren up here. But one said, we're gonna go back in August and see if we can stand the heat before we make a decision. So what did I do? I went into my contact and I scheduled an appointment to call them the end of August to follow up and see how the heat was. Okay, so I
Hopefully
did-
it was bearable for them so they can stay.
hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for, okay? But even if it's not, you know, it's still a reason to get back to them. I made a note, I listened to them, I heard them. People like
Yep.
when you hear them, you know. I put notes in every one of my, that's the other reason I like Top Producer, you know, that I have a place for comments and remarks. Everything they tell me, you know, I had a hip operation, you know, I put it in. You know, my kids, you know, I just became a grandparent. I'll put it in, you know, so the next time I call them, I have something to ask about. You know, how's that grandbaby doing? How's your knee feeling? You know, I talked to a client, I sold her house. Something else you can do in your farms, and it takes time. But I had the anniversary dates, you know, of when they moved. So on the anniversary of their sale, I call them up. Okay, so calling is the #1 contact, or face-to-face. Don't think that you can just send out postcards and send out information and you're going to build a relationship. You're not building a relationship, okay? You have to meet them. And that's why I'm saying, you know, if you're in a networking group, you know, of professionals, you know, you're going to see them every month. You're going to, you know, if you knock on doors, you've seen them. And, you know, I've knocked on a door 20 years ago and they remember me. I never knocked again. You know, the impact of you taking time, and, you know, some of them they're not chatty, you know, and other of them say, come on in, you know, so, and then I take notes in the car. Number 43 Shady Brook was where I was yesterday, you know, and I spelled their name wrong, and the husband died, and now there's a new man there, and I ask his name so I can get my database right, you know, and I really work on my database every single day, you know. So you can put in the anniversary of their sale and then call them. Now you're going to do this with your own listings that sell, and your own buyers. You're going to call them every year, forever, you know, on the anniversary, right? You know, that's one thing I didn't say. I mean, the first people you farm is your sphere. You know, don't forget that. And if you're going to send out a just listed or just sold card, send it to your sphere also. Let them know you're having success. Let them know you're involved, that you're engaged, that you're in the business of real estate. Because they know, you know, that you may have some shortcomings. You know, or they may know that I'm always late for appointments, and they may know that I'm, you know, a procrastinator sometimes. You know, so, you know, we have to show them that we're working it, we're doing it. Okay, your family is really the toughest, I think. I forgive me, I'm going to tell an old story, but you know, my sister went through a divorce, and I sold her house. I was in real estate 10 years. And I sold her house, and we were sitting at the closing table. We're going through all the numbers and, you know, having her sign things. And she turned to me and said, you really do know what you're doing. I was ready to punch her, you know. And I said, yeah, I do. Thank you. And now I hope you'll refer your friends and your contacts to me, you know. But 10 years, you know, 10
For your
years.
sister.
Yeah, my own sister. So, you know, we get emails from Suburban Realtor Alliance, okay? One of the hardest things to do is to accumulate email addresses, okay? It's the easiest way to communicate, but it's the hardest contact information to get. So Sue Foster, she would have run coloring contests, you know, and they would have to email, you know, you would provide picture of a house, or draw a picture of your house, draw a picture of your family, you know, for the kids, and then submit it by email, and then you get their email, you know. If you have, well, if you're going to be professional people, you're going to exchange emails, so that makes it really easy, you know, that's great. But when you meet people and you're knocking on doors, you can say, would it be all right to have your email so I can send you the latest information on real estate, or like I could send you the next listing that comes up in the neighborhood, or, you know, anything that seems important, okay? you wanted to do a yard sale. You know, there's things on how to hold a yard sale. So if you're gonna do that next time, you know, just always be asking for email addresses. Always, 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 okay. Now, I don't send information every time, okay? Other times I send what I call keepers, okay? Well, it's a keeper, something that they're gonna not trash, right? So this is my last keeper, and this goes on the refrigerator. I'm big into magnets, even with stainless steel, that goes somewhere, their filing cabinet or wherever, okay? So I do baseball schedules, I do football schedules, I do calendars, and it's so funny that this is in here. This is from 2007.
And you do the full size, not the.
I do the full
Yeah,
size,
nice.
yeah, and I try to pick out one that actually has room to write in the squares.
So many people do, right?
Yeah.
in
They
the
really,
squares.
they really do write in the squares. And you can get the cheaper calendars where your name is at the bottom, but they cut that off.
Mhm.
They can't get rid of me here.
That's true.
Okay.
That's a good idea, I never thought about
So
that,
I
yeah.
spend it probably a dime more, maybe even 20 cents more, but is it worth it? I think it's worth it, yeah. So I'm always peeking out at them.
Do you send that out every year?
Every year, yeah, 1,300 of them. It's a big project.
Mhm.
It's a huge project. But you could hand deliver them, you know, and get them in November before they're busy with Christmas,
Mhm.
because it starts December 1st.
Right.
Right.
So, and walk around the neighborhood and give out your calendar.
May I ask, where do you go to get something like that?
This, I get mine from Teldon.
Okay.
How much are they?
Yeah,
if you
what is
don't
that
mind?
rate?
Yeah.
They're about, I forget, $1. But the perceived value is what? What does it cost to buy?
$10.
Yeah, like at
Easy.
least
Yeah.
$10.
$10, $6.99 is the best I've seen it, maybe,
Yeah.
you know?
Truthfully,
So it's
so-
$1. So that's the other thing I like. I like when the perceived value is greater than what it actually costs you. So Teldon Marketing is 888-983-5366. Okay. Magnets USA is where I get my baseball and football schedules, and I also get little note cards. So if you're sending out a anniversary card, people don't mail greeting cards very much anymore, because it's too easy to email or happy birthday on Facebook, you know, or whatever. But when they get a note card, people tend to open that note card. And every note card that you write should have something in it that they're going to keep. I go to the dollar store and I buy happy anniversary cards. Now, on your farm, you may not know when their anniversary is, but you may know when their house anniversary is. And this one says, "May your home be filled with happiness and your heart is filled with love," blah, blah, blah. You know, and I wish them a happy, and I keep track of what year they bought, so that every year I can say, "Happy 13th anniversary," you know. I'm a little bit anal, as you can probably tell.
Personal,
I
People
try,
No,
like
but that's
that.
honestly, that it's
but
more
yeah,
personal.
you know, I want to stand out, you know, as being a little bit different. So these are the things that I've kind of made as keepers. This is something 20 questions every seller should ask before hiring a realtor. So and you can get these lists. And there's all kinds of mailings on topproducer.com. They must have 100 different flyers and postcards and stuff that you can send out that are information based. I'll just show you this for fun. This is one that I copied off of somebody else, and it's which, you know, I've been in it a long time. So which Lee Rubin worked for you? And I
That's
said,
really cute.
You know, so I have it back when I was, you know, working with my husband. And then at the bottom it says, "Sure, the hairstyle, the weight, and the age have changed, but the professional service and expert advice Lee offers has always remained the same." This is Remax. I
That's
have
really
done
cute.
it since I'm here. I just pulled this out quickly. I've got others. More Remax. Anyway, I was with Remax for 18 years, but you know, you can find something catchy. And I haven't created anything new in my entire life. You know, I've always borrowed and honored somebody else's work by taking it. and using it and making it my own. I just thought that up. I honored their work. That's pretty good.
Yep.
There's also, if you want, there's a company called the Gooder Group, and they make different brochures. So this is a little bit more expensive, obviously, but if you meet somebody and you knock on their door and they're actually home and they answer the door, you might want to give them something of substance, okay? And they have 100 different things that you could do on how to buy a house, how to sell a house, pricing a house, your security. I started to say, and I didn't finish, you get emails from Suburban Realtor Alliance, and in it tells you what's happening in different areas. So, over the years, I've accumulated my farm of my prospects and people I know. So I copy and paste if there's something about taxes going up in Morrisville Borough, I'll copy it and I'll drop it into an email, and I'll say, information provided courtesy of Lee Rubin, and then if I can help you with any other questions, but I just take information and I post it, So let's talk about posting. The internet. Now my generation is on Facebook. I understand the younger generation have given up on Facebook because all their parents are there. And they don't want their parents to know what they're doing. So they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're on other places. So you gotta be where your group is, or everywhere. And I really, in thinking about doing this today and in spending so much time with Ken this week, and I'm in a masterminds group, and they were talking about online marketing and social media. And I'm thinking, why aren't I befriending everyone I know on Facebook? Create a business page, just like Dot did, and ask them to, like your page. And then post things on your page that have to do with houses. It could be decorating, it could be gardening, it could be anything. But you want, and then what they say, 1 out of 10 posts can be real estate related. And if I post, I have a new listing, you can share my post, that's fine with me, it's okay. And I think anybody here would be delighted if you shared their post. So
They always say to ask first, to make sure that the agent's okay with them sharing it.
it's public.
Okay.
You might do that, as to develop your relationship with the other agent, but I have people share my posts. Sometimes people share it privately to a friend they think might be interested, but if it's on Facebook, it is public.
Okay.
It's public,
True.
So if somebody is posting that they have a new listing in Morrisville, post it.
Yeah, she was like, hey, I can show you this beautiful house. Let me know if you're interested.
It's good to post off of off your app, to share off your app.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the office gets something new and you want to share it, because it goes over, and as long as the other agent's okay, it looks like it's
From you.
It's like it's
from you.
yours.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Even though it's
And
not.
so again, it's not that we're misrepresenting, but we're just showing that we're involved in the business.
Right.
So whether we're sharing our own stuff or sharing other people's information, so be it as public anyway.
And as a new agent, it makes it look like all of my people, they think I have houses listed already because of the stuff that I share. They're like, oh, you should do this for the house you've listed. I'm like, oh,
But it looks like
But
it.
I'm
Then
sharing
You're
stuff, so
just
they think I
fluffing.
do.
You're not
Yeah.
lying, right? You're
Yeah.
fluffing.
You could
And
somebody
then-
from the
Difference.
office. It is
On
colorful.
social media, you have to respond to everybody who responds to you. And that can take time, but when you're sitting in the doctor's office waiting to be seen, we have a lot of downtime, not anymore, not in this business, there's no downtime. So you can go on, and whoever it's hard to do everybody who likes it necessarily, but if somebody makes a comment, reply back, thanks for noticing, thanks for commenting, yes, I agree, whatever it is. Engage, develop the relationship. When I talk about open houses, I'm blue in the face, I talk about developing relationships. I started this class with developing relationships. So you can develop relationships online. I play words with friends, So every once in a while, I'll send a little thing. Don't forget I'm a realtor. You know, hey, hello, out there, wherever you are, you know, take advantage. But with the farming, you can also send out information on our company's success. We have so much success. Not everybody even knows who Keller Williams is, let alone that we're the #1 office in Bucks County. So you can just make a quick little postcard up and send it out, or post it, you know, even email it to people. We have Red Day coming up. You know, bring your own camera, take some pictures, and send it out to people. You know, that we are involved in the community, that we don't just take, we give, and that's part of our culture. You know, so there's lots of opportunities. Invite your farm to the pocketbook bingo or whatever is coming up. You know, there's so much going on here to share that don't assume that somebody isn't going to be interested because it's outside
Especially like now with
the
the golf
office.
outing, like how easy
The
would it
golf
be just to,
outing.
most men love golf, even women, but
Mhm.
just throw it out there and there you go.
Right.
Something so simple as the golf outing you can post.
Hmm. And you can also post it, you know, when you're on Facebook or the others, you're going to befriend other realtors too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I keep getting off topic because there's so much to talk about. But, you know, call somebody who showed your listing or wrote an offer and say, you know, you aren't a golfer by any chance. Why don't you know, we're doing this for charity. And what a great way to develop a relationship and a recruiting tool later on. Okay. All right. One of the things I send out is anytime I see that there's a shredding event, people love that information. You know, get it out to them. You know, there's a shredding event at Shady Brook every third Thursday, and it costs $10 a box. So the Monday before that Thursday, don't forget, if you need to shred, you know, I mean, that's my group. We have a lot to get rid of. The food drives, you know. So at Flowers Mill, you know, it's a neighborhood with a homeowners association. You know, I'm in their newsletter. I hit them from many different areas, so no matter where they go. Like in the supermarket, I was on the shopping carts for a while, okay? And even when I went off, they keep thinking they see me on the shopping carts. There's like an after effect of that.
Mm-hmm.
I sponsor entertainment at the clubhouse. I do a food drive, and I say, you know, bring a can of food to it. So they see that I'm just not taking, I'm just not in it, you
You're
know,
giving
but
back.
I'm also giving back, and I got a tremendous response from that. If there's a homeowners association meeting, you know, like annual meeting or whatever, show up, go. You know, if you're doing a neighborhood that has a homeowners association, you know, show up to these things, even if you don't live there, because you want to be expert on it anyway, don't you? You know, so you want to know what's going on. If you're doing a church or a group, be on the board. You know, Becky Markowitz, I don't know how she has time to do real estate. She's head of the women's club at Share Me, okay? And I know she gets a lot of business from that, and more power to her. You know, that's great. Because she's, you know, when you're in those roles, people get to know you. So, you know, you start a relationship by people knowing you, and then you enhance the relationship by you getting to know them and having an opportunity to work with people on different projects, you know, is great. You wanted to do I do flags, by the way, or I did flags. It works really good in townhouse neighborhoods because you don't have far to walk, you know, but, you know, I would put flags out on Memorial Day, and you'd be surprised how many of them showed back up on the lawn on July 4th.
Mm.
You know, so they remember, you know, and then
Where did you put your info on the flag?
you can
It's like on the
put
stick?
something on the stick. Yeah, you can't staple anything to the flag. That's like, no. Just looking at my notes to see if I've got anything. I have E-Force down here. I don't even know what that means. But in any kind of information that is relevant to the neighborhood, to the group, you know, that you're targeting as a farm, Get it out there. Now, the worst thing is getting to that 3 weeks and you're saying, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know, you're busy with buyers, you need at the beginning of the year or today, okay, you made a decision. I want you to go back and make a calendar of what you're going to send out, okay? So every, what's 4 months is, every 16 weeks, send out a quarterly review of what's going on in the neighborhood, okay? I know that by every Thanksgiving, I send out my calendar. I know that every January, I send out the year in review. I know that every April, I send out my baseball schedules. I know that every August, I send out my football schedule. I mean, like, now it's just rote, you know, I don't even have to write it down. And then I fill it in, you know, with the just listed, just sold parts. So have a plan, you know, write it down and prepare ahead. You know, you can get, you know, some of these generic things way in advance and you know, I never watched television when I got in this business without putting labels on envelopes, you know. And do you all know how to bulk mail? You know, our office has a bulk number, 451, I believe. And you can have your envelopes. If you order envelopes, order it with a bulk indicia on it. You know what I mean? That little square in the corner.
Right.
You can still put a stamp on it. You know, so you can use it for both reasons. So always have a bulk indicia on any envelopes that you order.
What do you make a stamp, or I don't?
No.
I mean, I know
When
what
you-
it is, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get one from me or from anybody in the office and, you know, it'll have the bulk indicia on it. And you give it to the printer when he prints your envelopes,
Gotcha.
include an indicia. And sometimes when you order envelopes online or whatever, there's a place to put, you know, that you want an indicia. An indicia is that little square box that says your bulk number and, you know, that it's prepaid and all of that. Okay, so it drastically, I mean, I mail my calendars for 25 cents each. You know, if you wanted to send to first class, it's $1.20.
oh, that's crazy.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So the cost to do it doesn't depend on the size, it just depends on the quantity. And when, that's the other thing I did, when I picked who I was gonna farm, I kept them all in the same zip code. Okay, so your zip code could be Yardley
It's
and
196.7, that's what I like about it, because
Right.
it could really be Mooresville or Yardley.
Morrisville. Right, yes.
So it's 196.7.
And I actually have a Pennsbury neighborhood, but it has a Langhorne mailing address, that's Oxford Crossing. So, you know, sometimes there's crossovers like that, you know. 18966 is a lot of areas, you know, it's Northampton, Southampton, Holland, I mean, it's really, really big.
A lot of town stinks.
Yeah, there's
But you know what, it doesn't really, because each zip code, 54, 55, 56, 57, whatever, has a huge number of people in there.
When you think about all the sections in that one zip code.
In that one, yeah. So, you know, if you, and then, once you mail to 200 people, that's the minimum, okay, you get another discount. So, when I send out all my calendars, I have at least 200 in 19047, but I have my own clients in 19067, 18940 Newtown, and then, you know, as long as it's 189, you bundle them together and they give you a discount. Okay, so you're not spending, you know, it looks like you're spending a lot of money, you're not necessarily spending as much. But, you know, if you're in my class, you know, what you need to know that nobody tells you in any other classes, one was to have some money, you know, in an account, a budget, you know, get your line of credit. I did it on borrowed money, you know, but you're investing in your business. You know, if you're gonna buy a McDonald's, what's it cost? $500,000. This doesn't come close, okay?
I think magnets are the best thing, because somebody, you put it on the fridge and everybody goes to the fridge, you see your, like, they see it all the time without even thinking of it, like, they're just, you're embedded in their head.
Mhm. And when I sent out the Philly schedules, I guess you saw it, instead of just sending this out, I always want to send something else along. So I think Tracy did this for me one year.
Yeah, honestly, we just sent out our Phillies ones, and like we get it because and I was like, Tracy's been on my fridge probably for 6 years now. And my mom calls her, I'm not kidding you, mom's like, she knows her, she's like, oh, the realtor, because that's just how my mom puts Tracy's face too, is just, she's
Right.
the realtor. And
Right.
before you think of it, like, she's like, oh, man, my daughter's friend's realtor, yeah.
Yeah, and the worst thing is walking into somebody's house and seeing somebody else's magnet on the refrigerator. And it happens all the time, you know,
I'll take
but
it off.
Do you casually remove it?
I tell them.
I know I do, especially if my friend's
I
house
said,
is.
"Oh,
I'll throw
first
it
of
away.
all, it's probably outdated,
Right.
you know, because people leave things on the refrigerator for everything. So
Yeah,
if it's like a
they do
baseball,
all the
football,
time, too.
you know, just say, oh, you don't need this anymore. You know, always, I just always try to be funny.
So you put that in an envelope with the,
Yes,
yeah.
I do, yeah, and
Your
I
calendar
actually,
also goes in an envelope,
this one goes in
or
an
is the
envelope.
address on, okay.
No, everything goes in an envelope there.
With the bulk.
With the bulk,
Mhm.
yeah, with the bulk. And then, when I send these out, I send a holiday greeting. I send a Thanksgiving, sometimes I did a Buddhist prayer, I've done meditations, I've just done something, you know, a holiday message. I go to the store and I look for a Thanksgiving card that has a lot of words in it, and then I copy it and I put it on a flyer. So there's always, you know.
Seriously, there's so many ways that, like,
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to create, you really don't. Everything's out there, you know, and with the internet, you know, I did it before the internet. You know, I don't just send something without a note with my information on it and asking for business. You know, you can't just, you know, it's okay to ask when you're giving. It's okay, you know. So, let me see if I missed anything. I said, I saw my notes. So, does anybody have any questions?
Advice, as a new, very new,
Mm-hmm.
what would you, is the first an introductory, like I'm
Absolutely.
envisioning my picture, hello neighbor. I sell
Hello,
real
neighbor.
estate, I'd like to help, you know.
I mean, the first thing you do is
I'm
you
local.
gotta get your database together. You know, and you can go into Trend and go into the courthouse records and write down everybody's. There was times that I drove up and down the streets and wrote down all the addresses to make sure, you know. And then when you go into Trend, sometimes if you're in a condo or townhouse, the owner doesn't live there, it's rented out. But if you go into the courthouse records, it may have where their tax bills go. So, who mails to them? I do. I do. If I know that it's tenant occupied, I find out, because they're not getting information from anybody else,
Right.
for sure. You know, I wanna make sure I'm getting where other people don't. So you gotta get your database together, you know, their names, address obviously, and, you know, I used to spend time when I had more time going through white pages and trying to find phone numbers and so I could call them. And again, email addresses are harder. But if you're in a neighborhood like Shady Brook, you know, it's really hard for me to get into Shady Brook. But I know somebody there, so I said, well, give me your newsletter. And in the newsletter, sometimes they put the email addresses if they have to contact somebody for a trip or whatever. So I try to glean as much information as I can. And then every Sunday, I mean, I've been doing this for years, in the real estate section, it has the real estate transactions. So I scan Middletown, and I pick up anybody who's in my farm, because I know the streets in my farm, and then I update. So I work on it every single day, in one little way or another. Do you know what I'm
Where
looking
you
at?
putting your database in, Trend? Is that where you're putting your database in?
Well, no, I put it in Top Producer.
Okay.
Okay, everybody here already has E-Edge. A Top Producer, you know, people don't wanna spend money. You know, that's why they say, oh, well, Top Producer, I have to spend money every month. But you know what? I mean, the benefits I get out of it are just ridiculous, you know, in terms of staying in touch with people. And making notes, and, you know, I can put in their anniversary, and I call people up to wish them a happy anniversary. You know, when you have a closing, you're gonna put down, you know, they make a copy of their driver's license. You know, go to the title clerk afterwards and say, can I see that, and jot down their birthdays. I call clients on my birthdays. I used to get clients, you know, on their kids' birthdays, and I would send them $2 bills. They saved them, you know, and then when the house, it's time to list, they call me and they introduce me as the lady who sent you the $2 bills, I could go on and on. You can send an introductory card, you can tell them that you live in the neighborhood, or that you've always loved this neighborhood, that you're gonna be the expert in this neighborhood. And you might wanna give them some information about the most recent sales this year, and include that
Gotcha.
with your introductory letter. And this is the kind of information you can expect to see from me, and you will be hearing from me on a regular basis. If you want information about the neighborhood or another neighborhood you're interested in, call me with your email. And it's very hard to get people to call you back like that, that you don't know. But occasionally, if you touch a nerve of something that they want, then, and you have something to offer them, then they will share their email with you. Or if you met somebody, again with the Facebook thing, I just thought of this, and I should really start, putting my farms and start looking for people, Of course, strangers, you may not know what they look like, and they may have a common name or whatever, but you get my point, that you want them to see you or think they see you everywhere. Okay. So, are you all have all your databases in eEdge?
I don't know how to export from eEdge though, I don't even know if it's possible.
You can.
It is possible,
In the top producer?
in eEdge.
To
So,
export?
to get the addresses, to pull out
Oh.
the addresses.
Well,
I would ask Sharon or Jillian.
ask Sharon, I'm sure there's a way to
There's a
export.
way, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
to
gonna say I would
export
definitely
that
ask
stuff.
Sharon and Jillian.
Yeah, but it takes time to develop a farm, don't get me wrong. But, when the phone just rings and it's a stranger and they say, I've been getting your mail and I want you to list my house, is that worth $1,000 you might have spent over the year?
Yes.
Yeah, the return on your investment is excellent. It takes time, but, all good things take time.
Don't give up after 2 mailings.
Right, don't give up after 2 mailings.
But no, and that's what
absolutely.
they said, like the first year
And,
is the
and you
hardest
should,
because
the
you
first
have
year,
to.
if you do it diligently for the first year, you're gonna get a return. And don't forget to knock on doors.
And you just have to be careful now, like you need the permits to knock on doors, like I know you do in Falls.
Yeah, in Marsville, like if somebody knocks on, if they don't have it covered
Oh,
through
and
the,
then people are gonna complain about
Complain.
you all over the internet, and
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
yeah,
I didn't know
that's-
that, okay,
Yeah.
so if the,
Yeah.
Yes, I know
if
in
that's in
Lawrenceville.
Falls and that's their regulation, then no, you're not gonna do it. But if the neighborhood is having a garage sale, nothing stops you from stopping at every house
No.
and introducing yourself and giving out something. It could be a pen, it could be anything,
A lot of neighborhoods have their own pages now too, groups.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
Yeah, like there's
Lower
still-
Mayfield has a big group, but you can do it by,
If there's 11, I don't even know how I'm part of these groups, but like all of
There's
us.
tons of them.
Yeah,
It's the Saturday
Uncensored,
yard sale.
censored.
yeah, and that's
In my
exactly, like,
neighborhood.
there's like the
So
one
that-
on
so that's
Marsville, the
that's your
Brick
job
Page.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Your
That's
job
something-
Saturday
I
is
know,
meet
it's
as
nuts.
many people as you can. Listen, I have a Coldwell Banker agent that's coming to my clubhouse to talk about something, and I'm
That's
thinking,
my thing.
how the hell they get in here? But guess what, I'm gonna show up, because I know a lot of people who are gonna be there. They're not gonna be happy with me, but, oh well, I'm a resident, so yeah, any opportunity, if you're in,
That's why I have it.
Brandy, I'm sorry, if you're in, if there's a school activity, you wanna make sure to be there.
Yeah,
Every
that's
school
what-
activity.
It sucks because I just gave up my spot on the PTO board.
Ah, okay.
And I can easily get it back with so much drama. But
Yeah, but if there's a school trip and you're on the bus,
yes,
you have an
and I always
opportunity
am.
to talk to other mothers. If you're
Right.
going to the soccer games, that the kids are playing, you're always gonna wear your badge, and it's a time to say, can I have your email address? I'd love to stay in touch with you.
Well, that's what the thing I'm doing this weekend, which I wanted to say to you guys, because I don't think we brought it up, was events. Like I'm doing First Friday in Bristol, and I'm gonna do it. Mother's Day is Sunday, so I'm gonna do a kids craft, and I got these little buckets.
Where are you doing the kids craft at?
Right at my table. It was $25 for a table, which is nothing. And so I'm gonna have them fill it up with dirt. We're gonna plant seeds, and then I got a little flag that says Happy Mother's Day. But it has my name and all my info on
That's
it.
really
and
cute.
they're
Oh,
Is that
kind of
fabulous.
forced to keep it. I did that one too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one's really cute.
So, you know, they were really cheap, it's
So-
30 cents a piece.
So how do you get your name on it?
I did it
She just-
all. It's
it's
something
a
I
label.
used to do for my business, so I'm really good with Photoshop
Awesome.
and stuff like that. But,
Excellent.
Is
yeah,
this a lip,
and I did the lip gloss for
Yeah.
people who don't
I
have
love
taste.
that,
and she
yeah.
even did chapstick.
And you know what, you can get seed packages too,
Mhm.
you know, I have people who
Yes.
are, you know, who give out seeds at events or whatever,
Yes,
so,
thank you. I was gonna do the
I
seeds,
love
but
it.
I figured since it's Mother's Day, and I figured have the kids get their hands dirty, plant the stuff, and then the moms are forced to keep it because the kids made it.
events, you know, one year we had a day out at the, Trenton Thunder, you know, and I invited a lot of people that I farm to on a regular basis.
Yeah, people
You know.
love that. And Trenton Thunder is such a social.
I love.
It's not like going to the Phillies game. You can
Yeah.
walk around,
And you can
everybody
afford the
talks to
food.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can afford the food and the drinks.
So, yeah, events, you know, show up at events,
They
for
look
sure.
great, Brandon.
Thank you. Because it looks better done than before.
Yeah.
My
I
first
wanna
couple
take
tries
your,
were sucky.
your chapsticks
Take
now.
the chapstick.
I
Oh,
have them, so I want it.
I made it. I made the chapstick too.
I know you have I wanna.
Yeah, listen, there's people who give out pumpkins, you know, at Halloween. I mean, you can go through the calendar and for there's a holiday every month.
I know, there is.
You know,
I just
and, you know,
picked
like I
something.
did with the flags and what she's doing. St. Patty's Day, this is a little more expensive, but I would buy,
A lottery.
lottery tickets, you know.
Dollar, yeah.
Of course, when I got audited by the IRS, that was a hard one to convince. I thought I was using it for marketing, but, you know, there's lots of stuff,
There is.
you know, and feel free to copy what I do, feel free to copy what Brandy just did, you know, and,
Yeah, I can
And
help anyone
get
with
out
the
there.
labels or whatever if anybody needs to do something like that.
Yeah, no, I really do enjoy this. Cause I'm a chapstick person, they're like,
And
so
chapstick's
that's.
like $3 a piece.
And
So
I think I have one in my car, I have one everywhere, like I have chapstick.
yeah,
that
I
costs you
have
probably
hand
40 cents.
sanitizer
Yeah.
with my name on
Yeah.
it, you know, and.
That's a really good one, I have hand
and
sanitizer everywhere.
stuff like that, so. Okay, any other questions? Do you all think it's worthwhile?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah,
I
it was
interrupted you.
Okay, all right, well, thank you, and over and out.